the participants, all the volunteers, all had to work together in order to make it work. And I mean, when I saw the participants in the people that came to look at the jack-o'-lanterns at the Pumpkin Fest, when they got asked to light pumpkins, they became part of the organization. They stepped forward and started to light pumpkins. They became part of the whole process, and it was just an incredibly exciting, vibrant time, and this community came together in just a fantastic way that you never would see anywhere else. The other thing that I really think we ought to say is thank you to Highwood, Illinois. This would have happened this way without Highwood, Illinois challenging us to participate in a contest to see who would have the most jack-o'-lanterns. We won. We're very thrilled that we won, but I don't want to take anything away from Highwood, because in many ways they made it possible. HGTV would never have covered this, and Keene would never have gotten the recognition that it got if it hadn't been for Highwood's participation in this process. I don't think that the community would have worked quite as hard as we did, and we wouldn't have been quite as competitive as we were if we hadn't had Highwood also involved in this. So, kudos to Highwood, and I do appreciate the fact that they participated. And later on today, I will be calling the mayor of Highwood and congratulating him for their participation. But, the most important thing really right now is that the community really deserves an incredible amount of credit.
Right, I would agree with you. So people throughout the Monadnock region, many of you were gathered at the Marriott last night to watch this, and I think HDTV did a great job building the drama. I mean, my kids were right literally on the edge of their seats, waiting for what was going to happen. And as you probably know, I was mentioning it yesterday, and I was kind of figuring out some things of what was going to happen relative to the record, and I said, I think maybe, because people were so quick to say that Keene didn't win the next day and the other town had 38,000, but the more I watched it and the more they built the drama, I think people started to come to the conclusion, this is possible, maybe we're going to win, and then they announced it, and I'm sure there were loud screams and everything over at the Marriott with people watching it, but I also suspect that maybe some of you knew. And for anybody, don't let anybody ever accuse you of not being able to keep a secret. Ruth Sterling is here. Good morning, Ruth. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thanks, Danny. It was a really wonderful birthday moment at the Marriott last night. There were some wonderful people there. In fact, many of them are right here, right now, the people who made this magical dream happen. I'd like to just back up a little bit and talk about the magic of the Pumpkin Festival, because it is still, I'm a little tired, honestly, and it was a lot of work, and the work continues. We're still collecting donations that have pledges. We're still following up on press things like this. We're still working night and day on Keene Pumpkin Festival, but I have to tell you, it is the most magical experience. The most stunning things happen as a result of carving your pumpkin and bringing it to downtown Keene. And I think that's where everything started, in the magic of Keene, New Hampshire's Pumpkin Festival. I think that's what brought Guinness here. I think that's what brought the Discover Card Challenge here. I know that's what brought Eric Fahlberg here, because he was so impressed with Keene's Pumpkin Festival that he talked his town into having one. So I got to go back to the magic and say, even though I'm a little tired and I don't like to have events at 8 o'clock in the morning, that there's magic in this room. I'm looking at Ted McGreer, who also represents Luca, who's probably outside trying to get in right now. The two people who are the spokespeople for Let's Get This Record. Some of us were too busy trying to get, scaffolds downtown to, but Ted McGreer and Luca accepted the challenge of Let's Get This Record. And Nancy Scorborg, who started the record, without these people I'm looking at right here, we wouldn't have done ourselves so proud that night. 29,381 pumpkins. But I got to talk about, if this is my last chance, I got to talk about this unsung hero right here, John Hayes. He's in the room. No one would even know he's here. He's been on the action team of the Pumpkin Festival since day one. And he's our sole board member who hasn't moved to New Jersey, and he's the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz movie. And just one second, in case I forget, this is Jay Clark, who's representing the Absolute Angels at Clark Distributors and CNS Wholesale Grocers, who when the team is ragged and it's the fourth quarter and you don't have what you need to win the game, and a whole new team comes in and says, "Here's 15,000 pumpkins. Will this help?" That's who these people represent, and the Pumpkin Festival, as I said, needs that magic. So I hope you get to hear from all of these people, and that's what I have to say today. Thanks, everyone.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Ruth. I wanted to talk to Nancy. Nancy was pretty prominent in the video last night on the TV show. You look great, by the way, and good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Always bubbly as ever. My 16-year-old daughter got very much into the Pumpkin Festival this year, and she was watching it last night, and about halfway through, she said, "Dad, you know what the difference is? We're doing it as a community. We're doing it, individually, and each one is carving out their own pumpkin and getting the guts out of their own pumpkin." And some of her friends from Interact were on the TV show, and they showed Doug Mealy's group of kids, pitching in and unloading the jack-o'-lanterns. And I think she really hit it on the head. That's the difference. And again, we may not have reclaimed the Guinness Book of World Records, but we won the Pumpkin Wars. I understand we won a lot of money to help out education, and it really revived the Pumpkin Fest. And I think one of the keys that we noted last night, too, was the organization. You were like, "Counters ready, go, bring back your sheets, done." And those poor people were going, "We got to do what?" I mean, I wanted you to talk about that side of it, the organization. And again, congratulations.
Okay, I'd love to, before I talk
Whatever
about
you
the
want.
county,
Whatever you want.
I just want to have the opportunity to say that for me, the magic of the Pumpkin Festival has always been in each individual person carving something that they love, the name of somebody they love, the date that's important to them, the picture of somebody they love, or just a face, and bringing it downtown and being part of something greater than themselves. And that by all of us coming together, each one of us bringing our pumpkin, we create this incredible sight that I think no one ever thought was possible until Keene did it. And that is the magic. It's participation. And that's why when Jay came in, and Luca and Ted and all of these people came in and helped revive some of that spirit, that's all the magic. That is the magic, that we each come together to make this happen. So I love that about Keene.
As far as the organization and the record, and if I'm not mistaken, and just some of what I was able to figure out this morning about all of this, is that Boston officially still holds the record.
Boston holds the record.
Keene can, I guess, claim second place as far as that's concerned, but we've also had the official record in the past. And Highwood, Illinois, because they're kind of new at it, didn't quite do everything by the book, according to Guinness. And as we found out in the program, they're sticklers for what has to be done.
They are sticklers.
And by my calculation, given the Boston record and the Keene record and what Keene has done for its very best effort, which was in 2009, we're only about 366 short of the Guinness record anyway.
Yeah,
which obviously, and Ruth probably doesn't want to hear this quite yet, but there's always next year, because we know we had a lot of jack-o'-lanterns that weren't able to get counted or blew out or for whatever reason, didn't make it into the count.
Right.
We had about 1,000.
John?
1,000 that were, I'm John Hayes, and so we actually had more pumpkins than Keene has ever had downtown. And so comparing Keene to all of Keene's records, we have a Keene record, really. It didn't qualify as a world record because of the new rules that are in place, but we did overall set our own record, which to me is even more important.
Right. And just given all those circumstances and the conditions on Friday with all the rain and everything, it was pretty much an uphill battle. But
Danny, right after I found out about Highwood's unofficial count, which I found out in the middle of the night on Saturday night, John Hayes came up to me and said, "Wait a minute, Boston won the world record under an entirely different rule set. They didn't have these icky-picky rules that Yancey's scoreboard complied with, or got our whole community to comply with." But John came up and said, "Wait, new rules, new record." And so we actually have this other little secret victory, which is that we know we got 29,381 pumpkins that were lit, that had designs that, and Boston did not have to follow those rules. So the first thing John Hayes, our brilliant lawyer, said was, "Wait, new rules, maybe new record." So we had to go down that path for several days. It was very exciting. And tell it, so someone want to
It was-
explain the Guinness
I
way?
mean, really, what Guinness did was, because they were sending adjudicators here and because there were towns, competing against each other, we had to follow strict rules.
Sure.
And so we negotiated those rules right up until the day. Originally, they wanted all the lids on the pumpkins. Originally, they said they only wanted faces. We said, whoa, 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 wait a minute. People carve names. People carve designs.
Creativity, right.
Right. So we worked with Guinness and with Highwood to massage the rules. But when it came down to it, every single one of them had to be lit. That was the big thing. They had
Right.
to be lit. It couldn't be just a circle cut in a pumpkin. It had to be a design, a recognizable design. They had to be able to see every single pumpkin. You couldn't have one pumpkin in front of another
Stacked
pumpkin.
behind another one, yep.
Exactly. So, and, we had the Guinness adjudicator right next to me
Yeah.
the whole night. So, but we knew what we had to do. We had a counting system set up, and everybody went out and did their thing, and I'm really proud of the counters. They did a great job.
A big part of this, and again, congratulations to them, and I know it was an awful lot of work, but again,
It was.
having the experience, a lot of them, I saw Ken Jew running around, and he's like, can't talk, and which for people know Ken, well, that's odd, but just because he's friendly, but
Yeah.
he was taking his job seriously. The banner here next to everybody, and obviously folks at home won't be able to see it till we post the photos and the video. Let It Shine, Keene wins, HGTV Pumpkin Wars, thanks to all. I wanted to talk about the Discover Card, people, because I think that was one of those added things that really, got people pumped up. Luca and Ted were talking about it all the time, and, we first heard about it on Luca's cooking show here that's coming up, by the way, in about 45 minutes. And just to clarify, it wasn't to break the record to get the money, it was just whoever won between Highwood and between Keene. Is that correct?
That's correct. The agreement provided that we were going $1 per pumpkin for whoever got the most pumpkins, and then $10,000 to the losing community, a minimum of $10,000. And we are going to distribute that. We set up a process whereby we distribute it to educational, nonprofit, non-religious organizations, and we've set some criteria and
Right.
an application process for that.
Very good. And so the check will match the amount of lit jack-o'-lanterns, right? 29,381?
That's correct.
That's a huge number of jack-o'-lanterns. Last year we had just, Ruth, over like 16,000, if memory serves.
Do you really want to talk about last year, right?
Well,
now? Did you
I do because
really?
it's a pretty big jump to go from 16,000 to 29,000. Ted McGreer, who you looked great on the TV last night. by the way.
Didn't he look handsome?
I thought he was going to wear his orange jacket here today, but with you and Luca and others in the schools, and I mentioned this earlier too. They did a really nice scene over at Keene State College with all those young people out in the rain, sitting on the ground, and then in the Young Student Center where they had them all cheering on. As much bad press as they may get sometimes, they had a lot of people participate, and I know that, Ted, you were involved with that too, getting as many people as possible, young and old, to carve the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, we just wanted to be cheerleaders, but when you watch the show, doesn't it just make you feel proud to live in Keene?
It does.
You're just so proud of our community, and there's way more than the people in this room that are part of this pumpkin festival. Every person that took a lighter and lit a candle was part of the festival. I mean, was part of organizing and helping us achieve what we achieved. I mean, the rules with lit jack-o'-lanterns, we had so many gosh darn pumpkins downtown. And Highwood wants to challenge us for next year already, and we're already getting amped up. Luca and I already said 40,000, baby. Bring it on. We're going to do it.
Jeez.
So we're amped, and everybody's amped, and way to go, Keene.
Just a thought, maybe get Bic or another lighter company to sponsor it for next year too. Because it's all about the lighting. It's all about the official lighter of the Keene Pumpkin Festival.
Well, we found
I'm
out
just saying.
that candles work pretty well, too. If you actually
Yep.
have a
That's what
candle.
we were using. We were helping to light them, the three of us, part of my family, down on Railroad Street. There was a whole section, and we just handed out some candles. Somebody had put, one jack-o'-lantern was full of candles. I don't know if they forgot to take them all out to distribute them, but we found them and started tossing them around, and it worked really well, especially with the windy conditions and
That's
everything.
great.
But
So you put your family involved with it, and then you guys had a piece of history.
there was a little old lady that came up to me so desperate to check in her jack-o'-lantern, and this was maybe about a half an hour before the final count happened. I mean, she almost looked panicked because she had to get her jack-o'-lantern in and counted. And another lady tried to buy a jack-o'-lantern that I was holding. I'm like, well, you can carve your own. I sent her over to the station on Railroad Square because she wanted to be part of it. And that woman, I want to say, was probably in her 70s. She was out of town just given, her accent, meaning it didn't sound as good as our accent sounds. So it was amazing. We're running a little short on time. It's 8:29. We do have some news coming up in just a moment. Some final thoughts, whether it's from the mayor or from Ruth or Nancy or Ted or John. Jay Clark is here, and just a great effort. People were very excited.
Danny, I gotta tell you, it's the people who step up and improvise at the last minute that saved the Pumpkin Festival this year, and here's one of them.